So we're up in the air. I'm just having a couple of quick laps of the field just to make sure everything's working all right before flipping it into autopilot mode and grabbing the goggles just to see how good this diversity receiver is. So I've gained a bit of altitude, slipped it into autopilot mode and we're off, so it should do a lap of the field before heading off towards Mount Tennant, and hopefully I'll be able to watch it all the way. We're going for the 1500 metre mark. This is about as far as I got on the last attempt before the video broke down hopelessly, so I'm pretty pleased with how things are going so far. Those two glitches are a bit scary at the time. I looked down at my transmitter and noticed that I didn't have the antenna sitting up vertically, which means that I think it ran out of radio range and went into failsafe, and that's reflected on the screen. You can see that it drops out of autopilot into manual mode. I don't have RTH set up on the failsafe for the receiver at this point. So let's just slip back into manual mode again, so it looks like we might be getting near the end, and again, so it looks like we might be getting near the end of the radio range. At this point we reached the 1500 metre mark, and we'll start to turn for the next waypoint back towards home. It's at 300 metres. After the turn, the video, as you can see, starts to break down a bit. It's still usable though, and it seems to be on the improve. Hopefully it'll stay that way. I'm surprised the video is still glitching as much as it is, given that we're coming home, but I think the issue is the next waypoint's at 300 metres. On the way out it was coming up from a lower altitude up to 300 metres, so I suspect the directional antennas angle a bit low, and that's the problem, so it's something I'll keep an eye on next time. It's usable though, as it is. So now it's gone back to the first waypoint, and I'm going to let it do another circuit. I'm a bit surprised though, because it's still at over 200 metres altitude, and these waypoints, these next few waypoints, are only set at 80 metres, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with the altitude part of it. The video's breaking up a little bit. I'm not real sure what the problem is there. I'm wondering whether or not the cloverleaf antenna and the helical antenna might be too close together. But, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to let it go off to the 1500 metre mark again and see if the video is the same and see if the radio is more consistent now that the antenna is vertical. The weather is getting worse. It's gusting from the right hand side of the stream from the west. Autopilot seems to be having a bit of trouble keeping the line, but it's doing a good job. So setting the radio antenna vertically seems to have fixed the dropouts on this occasion, but there is an odd thing happens when it reaches the mark this time. When you look at the telemetry, you can see that the model reaches the F mark and turns to the next waypoint, which is the J mark, which it does about now, but then almost immediately loses it and goes to the A mark and then loses that and goes to the B mark where it stays for the rest of the trip. I'm a bit amused by that. Initially I thought it must have lost radio signal on the turn, but from looking at the telemetry it doesn't actually drop out of autopilot mode at all, so I haven't really got an idea what's going on there, so any help would be welcome. The rest of the flight back was pretty uneventful, so I still had plenty of battery, so I thought I'd try it a third time, and again some interesting results when I hit the F waypoint. So here we are about 300 metres out. The video is breaking up. I think at this point I was having a mess around with the direction of the antenna, so I suspect that's what's causing that. But again, we go up to the mark and then we turn to point J. At this point it does lose radio signal. You can see it's gone into manual mode and it's diving for the ground. Well, then it flies back into the signal and it goes right back to the J mark again, loses signal once more and then relocates the J mark again and keeps flying towards it. So the rest was okay, except that when I arrived back at the waypoints I was at 300 metres instead of the 80 metres that it should have been at for the waypoints that it hit, so that's still a bit of an annoyance to me, but at no point was I ever worried that I was going to lose the plane or anything. It's just odd little things that may be perfectly normal to people that are used to this stuff. But anyway, I'm very pleased with the diversity receiver. It seems to be doing the job. I'm not sure about the spacing of the two antennas, so I'll try and do some research on that. But again, if anybody has got any views on that, that would help. Whether I should be using a patch antenna maybe instead of the cloverleaf, I'm not real sure. So, but yes, thanks for having a look at it.